That's a good question. Let's see, eject. I can eject you. Hey guys, this is Bradley with Hump Day Hangouts, and Marco seems to be monopolizing on the spaces available in here. So I'm gonna try a new button in the Hangout that I hadn't seen before. It's called eject, and see what happens. Hopefully this doesn't like ban you out of here though, Marco. Let me see what I can do real quick. So guys, bear with me for just a moment. This is new. Somehow he took up a bunch of spots. So let me try to eject him. All right, Marco. If I lose you though, man, I'm gonna be on my own today.
I'll come back.
All right. Eject. One more. Sorry, guys. This is new. Okay. All right. I'm surprised I don't see anybody else in here yet, so I'm going to try to send this invitation out again, you guys, real quick, and then I'm going to just go ahead and go into some presentation stuff and answer any questions that are on the event page. If anybody wants to jump in instead of just watch, let me see. Typically, we usually have a bunch of people in here by now. But anyways, I'm going to move on. And if you guys have questions, you know to put the questions in either the Q&A tab, or you can also put them in the on the event page itself, which is kind of helpful for everybody. It won't let Marco in now, probably because I ejected him. Uneject, huh? Looks like I might be on my own this time. Let me try to grab one more link. Hold on a minute. And I'm gonna try to get you guys in here one more time, and then I'm just gonna move on. I got some some presentation stuff to go through today too, to kind of give you guys a preview of some YouTube SEO stuff. So I'll get into that too. I'm just gonna answer any questions that may be on the event page ahead of time, and then you guys, like I said, just jump in with any questions you have, either directly on the events page or put them in the Q&A box. You should see a little button, and that'll show questions to me in the sidebar. Ed Stapleton says, "Howdy, hi Ed." And also, if you guys see the little Hangout like chat box thing that pops up in the bottom right corner, if you have the Hangout plugin installed, then we can also chat in there. It's like usually I have support, so somebody can help me with this, but apparently when I ejected Marco, it won't let him back in, so I'm on my own. So, okay, you guys, I'm going to take the screen so you can see my screen. I got some stuff I want to show you today, anyways. So that should be up now. And back over to the screen. Okay, Brian Lichtig asks if anybody had ever used TubeRank. Works great for creating videos and getting them ranked. Yeah, actually, I have that, Brian. I haven't messed with it much. I bought it, so I didn't know that it made videos. I actually have that on my desktop. I'm curious now because I didn't think it did that. Right here it is. Haven't run it in forever, but I've used it just to. Oh, it's going to ask me to install it and all that. I'm not going to do that right now, or update or something. Let's see, exit setup, yes. So anyways, let me go back. I haven't actually used it much, other than to just like scrape tags off of videos. That was pretty helpful for that. There's also another one that Joe Troyer put out called Viewlio, and that's a pretty cool tool. I use that quite a bit for scraping tags off of like the top ranked videos when I'm trying to compete for something. It'll show you like categories and everything. It does it very quickly too. So that's a really cool tool. It's called Viewlio, Viewlio, and that's by Joe Troyer. So thanks for pointing that out, Brian. I'll have to look into that some more. I can't answer a video call, Marco. I'm already in a video call. Let's see. That was odd. Let's see, you guys. Hopefully, you guys can see me. Put some questions in the answer. By the way, Ed, since you already posted once, can you just double confirm for me, please, that you guys are hearing me by posting it in the question section? I just want to make sure you guys can hear me because it looks like the Hangout's got several people on, but I'm not getting any reaction yet. So, all right, I'm going to keep moving on because it's recorded anyways. Chef Constantine or Alex, he says, "Hey Bradley and team, quick question I had about outsourcing other than oDesk and Freelancer. Do you guys have any other sites you use for web development that have trust and know what they are doing? Thanks in advance." I have not used anything other than oDesk really for hiring that sort of work. Like my outsourcers that are full time, I actually hired them through onlinejobs.ph. because they're full-time employees. But for any type of contract work or part-time stuff, I do it all through oDesk, and I've just found that to be a good place. What I typically do, and we'll talk about outsourcing a lot more. Well, mastermind members see that. Sorry. I mean, I can go over some tips for outsourcing. What I typically do for outsourcing, like on oDesk, is when I create a job, because you have to create a job to post first before you can recruit anybody to apply for the job, and I don't ever post it publicly for anybody to apply. I always hand select people that I want to apply to that job. And so what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll sort and search by certain criteria. Like they have to be 4.5 to 5 stars. They have to have at least 100 hours billed in oDesk. They have to have certain amount of time billed within recently, like latest activity. I think you can go 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, that sort of thing. Let's see. I'm hoping you guys can see me today. Yes, we can hear. Okay, cool. All right, great. Thanks, guys, for letting me know. It looks like Ed and Alex. Alex says good. Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate that because nobody's in here with me, which is odd. If anybody wants to jump in, post it in here. You know what? I'm going to do this. Let me grab the invitation link, and I'm going to post it right on the event page. If you guys want to jump in, you're more than welcome to. That should bring you directly into the Hangout, so you'll see that appear in just a moment. Okay, so anyways, back to the oDesk thing. I always sort by certain criteria, and then I go through and I read their profile, and then I invite them to apply to the job. And the reason I do that is because if you ever post a job in oDesk, you'll get a ton of responses, and a lot of them are automated stuff because people are scraping oDesk for new jobs, and so you'll get like canned responses, and it'll be garbage, and it's a complete waste of time going through all that stuff trying to sort through those people. Another thing is, even when I ask people to apply to a specific job, I put a question in, like a statement in my job description, saying, when you reply to this job application, make sure that you put white elephant in the first sentence or something. I put something in there that's odd, because if they reply and they don't have white elephant in the first sentence, then I know that they really didn't read the full job description, which means that they're not for me. I want people that can follow instructions. So that's a way to very quickly screen out people that can't follow instructions. I hope that makes sense. But you just put in like something real small that you ask them to do, something weird too, like say put big red kite in the third as the first word in the third paragraph of your response, or something like that. Just anything weird like that, because that way you can weed out people that are not paying attention or reading fully. Okay, so let me finish up with as far as web development stuff. That's all I would do, Alex, is I would just post a job in there with the job description that when you post a job, just be kind of general though. You want to be kind of vague in what it is that you want. Don't get into details until you actually start to interview outsourcers. And what I will do is I'll look for like roughly six outsourcers that I will invite, or contractors that I will invite to apply to the job. And then once they accept the invitation or decline it, and sometimes you'll get people that will decline it, they might be too busy or whatever, then what I'll do is I'll ask them in the oDesk thread, which is the email, I guess, the notification that they've accepted your job invitation or your to apply to the job. Then I'll ask for their Skype name, and I'll hook up with them on Skype and do like a 10 or 15-minute chat. It's just a text chat. It's not like a call or a video call, but I'll do a text chat with them as the actual interview. And the reason I do that is because I want to interact with them, because that's how I manage all of my outsourcers, is through Skype. And I do that, I have 3 hours every morning from 6 to 9 that I have blocked out for managing and working with my outsourcers. And so I want to make sure that we can chat with each other well in text chat first of all, and I want to know, to kind of get a feel for their personality and stuff like that. And then I make my decision on who I'm going to hire at that point. Last thing though is sometimes I will hire 2 or 3 people at the same time for the same project, especially if I'm looking for more of a long-term solution. That way I can get the results back from all 3. If, like, let's say I hire 3 people, then I'll look at those. I'll hire all 3. I'll pay all 3 for the same task, and whichever one does the best, and not only does the best, but has the best, can follow instructions the best, or can also communicate with me the best, then they're the ones that I end up giving the permanent position to. And I tell them that up front. I say, listen, I'm testing you. I'm hiring you for this task plus 2 others or 3 others or whatever it may be, and say, I'm going to give you this task. When you will be paid for this. When you complete the task, I'm going to make my decision as to who I'm going to hire to make a permanent part of my team. Okay, and that, guys, I've done a ton of outsourcing, and so that's something that you just kind of pick up as you go. Those are some tips though that will really help you, because if you try to post a job initially, you're going to get a ton of responses, and like I said, they're canned responses, a lot of them, and look, hiring outsources can be a full-time job in itself. There's certain things and tools and the steps that you can put into place that will automate a lot of the screening. But when it comes down to it, you really have to have some one-on-one time with your potential employees or contractors, or else you're going to get screwed. Trust me. Okay. All right. Let's see. BizTrends. First, Bradley, I want to thank you for being the real deal and providing such great information. I just removed the chimney pipe that I had to install because of all this. I just removed the chimney pipe that I had to install because of all the smoke that has been blown up my butt over the last 2 years by wannabe experts when trying to get good info and training on video SEO. Well, thank you, BizTrends. That's a pretty funny statement. Your stuff is on point. Thank you. I appreciate that. Questions. I have SendWire with no accounts as of yet. What are your recommendations for initial setup of a set of accounts? Is persona or branding better, etc.? I have the link for the Fiverr Give who has done your SendWire setups. Okay, so for SendWire setups, I would go with personas, not brand. Okay, because you're going to be essentially spamming those profiles, right? I mean, really, that's what you're going to be doing. And guys, when I say spam, people think of that as a negative connotation, but essentially, even if you're posting high quality stuff, you're still going to be essentially spamming those accounts, right? Because you're going to probably post different kinds of content, different videos and things like that, and that's fine. I do a ton of spamming, so don't feel bad when I say that. But yeah, what I would do is go with personas, not brands. I wouldn't want to damage a brand. So essentially, when I set up like for example, guys, even with private blog network sites, so PBN sites that I set up, I brand them, right? Every single PBN site that I have has a blog name, and it's like the blog is its own brand, and that's how you should be doing it now and going forward, okay? And then I built an IFTTT network around each one of those blogs, right? It's PBN sites, and each one, the tier 1 network is going to be just like I talk about in the training. It's going to be a branded network, okay? Now it may be that it's a persona that's a brand in that case, okay? So let's just use John Doe as an example. Maybe it's John Doe's blog is the name of the blog. I don't recommend that. But if you were to do that, then you could say John Doe. You would have all of your properties would be branded for the John Doe blog, if that makes sense. But otherwise, if you're going to be using them purely for like spam, which SendWire really, I mean, that's really what you're doing. You wouldn't want to use SendWire to post like to your branded networks for like your own business, for example, like whether it's a website business or a brick and mortar type local business or whatever. That's not really what that tool's designed for. It's an effective tool. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I use that in addition to my IFTTT networks as well as many other things like GSA, which is a total pure spam tool. You know what I'm saying? I use a lot of different tools together, but the IFTTT networks are the foundation of everything that I do. And so, with that, I would say use a branded IFTTT network for your site, your main site, your money site, and then you can use secondary tier 1 networks or tier 2 networks, which we're going to talk about in the advanced strategy webinar tomorrow for purchasers of the IFTTT training. By the way, guys, tomorrow at 4 p.m., the same time as today, is the first advanced strategy webinar. It's going to go for 90 minutes at least. It might go for as much as 2 hours. If you guys want to get in on that and be present tomorrow during the live event, where I'm going to talk about tiered networks, and then I'm going to talk about some advanced YouTube SEO stuff, which I'm going to give you guys a preview of today. But if you want to be a part of that, then jump in, buy the product today, the training today, and then join the Facebook group, which you'll see inside the training area. There's a button to join the Facebook group, and in the Facebook group there's a link to register to that webinar. That's only for people that have actually purchased the training, and that's, like I said, tomorrow. The first advanced strategy webinar is tomorrow. Then we're going to hold another one in about probably 3 weeks. Okay, so we're going to have 2 advanced strategy webinars. They'll be full-on training webinars, so just want to give you guys a heads up on that. But to get back to this, yeah, for branded accounts, I would do an IFTTT network that's branded for tier 1, and then you could set up either tier 2 or secondary tier 1 networks with personas, always with personas. You don't want to have more than one branded network. But for SendWire, and also like SociSend, which is another tool that I recommend and I use a lot, I would go with personas only. I would theme the personas though. So for example, let's say you're in the roofing niche, or like that's your money site. I'm just going to use that as an example. These principles apply to whatever niche you're in. Then I would go with a persona like a John Doe who's a handyman or a home improvement expert, right? And then build all of the accounts that are available within SendWire that are worth building, because there's a lot of them in there that they're not worth your time building the accounts for. Anyways, those ones that are worth building, then build it out with John Doe as the persona name, and with the theme would be home improvement stuff, right? Because then you could actually use that same account. Here, guys, I'll tell you what, and then I'm going to go look at the Q&A tab, but I just want to show you what mine looks like, all right? You guys can take a look at my SendWire account, all right? And you guys can kind of get a feel for how I've got it separated and set up. And you'll see that, look, I've got 835 sites in my SendWire account. I've got one of my outsourcers is full-time. That's all she's doing is adding networks to here. So anyways, let me show you an example of campaigns, all right? So this is how I talk about themed, how you should theme your networks, guys. They're way more powerful that way. So if you take a look, every time I have a persona that I add, I build all the accounts, or I don't, you guys get the point. I build all of the accounts, or have all of the accounts built to have a common persona name, and then I interlink all of those properties just like I teach in the IFTTT training, okay? Even though they're in SendWire, I still interlink them. So that, like for example, the Google Plus page is the glue, right? And so is Gravatar profile, where you link all of the other profiles together, like all of the links to the other profile accounts, right? So Twitter and WordPress and Tumblr and Blogger, you put all of those profile links together on the same profile page. So whether it's Google Plus or Gravatar or whatever, you do that because it makes the whole entire network of sites so much stronger. And so then I enter them as a persona, right, with a name, and I give them a number and what the industry is that they're in. See that? So you guys know I do a lot of contractor stuff, so I've got a lot of personas in here as construction, so it's anything that has to do with construction. It could be pest control, it could be landscaping, it could be painting, HVAC, electrical, anything like that. Then I can post to those any kind of home improvement related stuff to those networks. Then what I do, and you can see I have some generals in here too. Those are more so I can just kind of post anything to. But I try to keep them themed. Like you can see I've got some roofings in here and some luxury rental stuff because I got some limo service clients and things like that. But the other thing that I'll do is then I'll take a few of the networks and I'll group them together and make combined campaigns. So for example, like this construction 7 to 13. Right, that's like six different persona accounts all tied together to where when I blast, you can see when I do a post, bookmarks, status updates, blog posts, that some of them, because I've got multiple accounts into one, it just syndicates out to a lot of them. So I hope that makes sense. That's how I do it. Use personas, theme them, and start building out themed networks. That you'll get a lot more power out of them that way, and also make sure that you link them together properly. All right, let me get through some of these questions. Let's see, Alex says, awesome tip, man, thank you. Let's see, that must have been for the outsourcing thing. Can you give us a quick overview of IFTTT site and of what IFTTT site is and how it works? Casey Ryan. Yeah, Casey, I think you had actually posted a Google Plus message to me, or maybe it was an email the other day. Yeah, are you asking specifically, Casey, are you asking about the training site? Or just IFTTT in general? If you can clarify that question, because I don't want to go over the training side if you're just asking about IFTTT in general. So, Jaunty says, hi, I want to say hi, late. My apologies, no sweat, Jaunty. The replay will be available anyways. Lee says, domain authority stacking has been the talk lately. I recall you discussing stacking the IFTTT networks. Is this how we can gain the same benefit by stacking the stacking method? Yes, Lee, that's exactly right. Domain authority stacking is a term that was coined, I believe, by Network Empire, which I'm a student of them. I'm actually a certified advisor. They've got some real high-level SEO training, and so they've actually coined that term, I believe. But essentially, that's what I've been doing with the IFTTT networks for the last 2.5 years, was by interlinking those properties the way that we do. That stacks the authority, right? So you're compounding the authority, because every one of those properties, okay, Casey, I see your response, thank you. Every one of those properties are high domain authority sites, right? So they're already powerful sites. So by interlinking all of them, and also, guys, remember, we're in the semantic web. As of the Hummingbird update, we are in the semantic web, okay? We're in the early stages of it, but Google Plus is part of that, okay? It's the semantic web engine. That's Google's semantic web engine, is Google Plus. And so by stacking all of your profiles together, or interlinking them, combining them, you're building that authority. It's compounding that authority, if that makes sense, okay? That's why we do what we do, by building the accounts out manually, and we also interlink everything the way that we do, and we also theme them, right? That's why we theme our accounts, because now you're giving it semantic relation as well, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, that's what I would say. By stacking them, when I get into tiered network training, which is what we're going to talk about tomorrow on the Advanced Strategy webinar for the buyers, again, if you guys have not signed up, for all of you who have purchased, who have not signed up for the Advanced Strategy webinar, log into the training area. You'll see a button in the right-hand side for joining the discussion, which is the Facebook group. Join the Facebook group and then click on the link in there. It will take you to the webinar registration. If you guys haven't joined yet and you want to be a part of that webinar tomorrow, then I suggest getting the training and, like I said, logging in and clicking in the Facebook group. You can sign up for it tomorrow. Okay, but yeah, tiered network training, that's how I build automated syndication networks that are stacked. They can go out to as much as tier 3. I mean, they could go beyond that. I've just never had to go beyond tier 3. Usually, I don't have to go beyond tier 2 because I end up getting the effect that the desired effect. I rank what I want by the time I get out to tier 2. And we're going to talk about that extensively tomorrow. You got to be careful on how you set that up. If you're using it for YouTube channels, it's fine. You guys don't need to do anything real fancy with it other than to just set up the tiered networks. If you're doing it for website content syndication, you have to be careful with how you set it up, or you'll get yourself into trouble. And that's why I'm doing the Advanced Strategy on it webinar tomorrow, because I want you guys to learn how to do it properly if you're going to be using this method for blog syndication or to rank websites instead of just videos. Okay, so you have to be very careful with how you do it, because you don't want to leave a real obvious footprint, because it'll burn you in the long run. With YouTube videos, you can go to town. Okay, because all you're doing is you're being a publisher for Google at that point, and you can get away with a lot more. Okay. Let's see. Follow up to my BizTrends question: do you provide the persona pick and info in the Fiverr guy, or just let him to the Fiverr guy? Oh, hey Jeff. Hey Jeff. I don't actually. I haven't used that Fiverr provider yet, which I think is freaking awesome that we've got somebody who jumped on setting you. They even took our. Her name is Mitzi, I think, M-I-T-Z-I. I actually reached out to her on Fiverr and told her that I was proud of her for jumping on and grabbing our info, the graphic that we created, and she created a gig out of it. I was never so proud of or so excited about a Fiverr gig in my life until I saw semantic mastery stuff on there. I thought it was awesome. But I spoke with her, like I chatted with her. I have not actually had her build any networks because I didn't train her, but I did tell her that I'm available if she has any questions about how to set the networks up. Because I want her to do it right, and I told her that if any of you guys end up using her and find out that she does good, let me know, because I'll drive traffic to her gig. I think that's awesome. As far as do I provide it, no, my outsourcers do everything. Like, honestly, all I do is I send an email to my outsourcers and say, this is what the network's going to be for. Here's the YouTube channel, because I'll usually set that up, the YouTube channel that I'm going to be syndicating content to. If it's a website, then I'll send in the website RSS feed. Okay, and then I'll tell them here's the main topic. Here's a list of the top level keywords, because that's all they need to theme the networks, and then I let them do everything. They do absolutely everything from that point forward. Okay, again, that's the best way to do it, guys, because building these networks is time consuming. So I encourage you to outsource it. Let's see. Let me finish up with Casey. IFTTT in general. And guys, we're going to go a little bit over today because I do want to get through a couple more of these questions, and then I'm going to have to cut questions off because I want to show you guys something about, there's a couple things I need to do. So let me answer just a couple more questions, and then I'm going to go into just a brief training thing that I want to show you guys. And also Craig Smith, who had asked a question a couple weeks ago about YouTube stuff. I had Marco, one of my partners, who got ejected from this webinar early on. He did some digging and got some answers and found a really cool tool that I want to share with you guys. It's free too. So, okay, so this is for Casey. IFTTT, what is it? Okay, it stands for if this then that, and essentially it's I was introduced to this. If you had signed up to my PDF to download the PDF, you probably got my 5-day email series just introducing who I am and how I discovered this method. David Koss, who is also a he's a product developer, and probably 3 years ago he launched a WSO. It was just a PDF. It was very simple. I think it was like $7. It was called Stupid Simple Web Programming, and that was what introduced me to IFTTT. And I actually, it was like, you know, WSOs are usually garbage, most of them are, but every now and then there's a gem, and that was one of them, because I have built my entire SEO business based on the principles taught in that $7 guide 3 years ago called Stupid Simple Web Programming. So I owe a lot of this to him. So full credit goes to him for introducing me to this. But anyways, what it does is if this then that means you can set up these what's called recipes, and then there's channels. Let me look at the channels page. You can see there's 161 channels in this in IFTTT. So this is web apps, web 2s, social media sites. There's a ton of different things in here that you can connect to IFTTT, and essentially you can set what's called triggers and actions. So if a trigger happens, then an action occurs. That's how it works. So you can set up like a cause and effect. So the cause could be you upload a video to your YouTube channel. So for example, if we scroll down here, you'll see that YouTube is a channel that you can activate. All right. So if you activate that channel, then when you set up what's called a recipe, okay, then the recipe would be if YouTube upload, then post to, let's say, WordPress. You can set it up to do that. You can do like all kinds of other stuff that are not SEO related. I only use it for SEO, but like there's like so many really cool things that you can do with IFTTT that like really cool things. I've kind of looked at some recipe guides that other people have created for stuff that's non-SEO related, and there's just like some really cool stuff that you can do with it. So it's free. You can set up a ton of recipes. Like I said, I've been developing SEO recipes and testing and things like that, and the ones that are in the PDF are the ones that I use religiously. Oh, by the way, there's a couple other ones, guys, that I'm going to be adding to the training that I do for the just for branded networks. I don't use them for like secondary or tiered networks, but like one of them is for pinboard.in. That's this right here. This is a bookmarking site. It's paid. It's $11. It's like $10.82 or something like that to sign up. It's a one-time cost. But it's a real high. It's a very powerful property, and so like I'll use that on branded networks or for networks that I build for clients. And so I'm gonna add the training to that. Plus, you can also integrate Facebook pages. I didn't have that in the IFTTT training yet because you have to do it through pages, not through profiles, and you have to have the pages underneath your own main account. And so typically, I will only do that for branded networks. I will not do that for secondary or supporting networks, right, or tiered networks. Those are all considered supporting networks. I don't do it for that. But I'm going to be adding the videos soon for Pinboard and Facebook pages as well. Okay. So anyways, I hope that makes sense, Casey. It's just a brief overview. That's what you asked for. Carl says, will the advanced training tomorrow for the IFTTT be recorded webinar? Yeah, I'm going to record it. There may be, and I hate to do this to you guys, but I told the guy, everybody that had jumped in early, I'm doing this for them to start with. It's kind of like a bonus, and so there may be some. It's going to be recorded, but there might be some stuff that I cover that gets cut out of the actual recording it when I post it in the training area because I wanted to do something special for you guys that jumped in early. So I'm going to get into some stuff that I might not add. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Let's see. You missed one of my BizTrends questions on the event page. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Let me go back and look at it. Is there any difference when ranking a video with verbal audio versus just music and slides? Yeah, verbal audio is going to get better results. No question, especially if you mention the keyword in it. Absolutely, you're going to get better results that way. Okay? All right, I'm going to take like 3 more questions, guys, and then I'm going to jump out of here into a couple things I want to show you. I think you guys will appreciate it. I had an account from another program, Casey says, forgot what it was about, just logged in and am reminded, so you can skip my question. Oh, well, guess I should have read that before I went over. I got the same WSO too, it says Ken Roberts. Yeah, it's funny, Ken, as that really snowballed my SEO business. I'm not kidding. And Marco says he's in. He's just not in as a presenter. Gotcha, Marco. Thanks for stopping by again. All right, so here, now what I want to do, guys, is get into something. Marco showed me this. I asked him to dig into this for Craig Smith, which asked a question about 2 weeks ago about whether or not YouTube videos, if you're using a video player plugin on a WordPress site instead of the embed code, will it make a difference with SEO? And I didn't have an answer. I didn't know. My assumption was that it doesn't make a difference because Google code is Google code. Whether it's a link in the plugin or the video player plugin turns it into an embedded video, or whether it's the actual embed code, my assumption, and again, I don't know for sure, but was that it doesn't make a difference. And honestly, I don't care if it's a website that has a WordPress player in it. Then I just add the video link to that and let the WordPress player do its thing, and I still end up ranking them anyways. But as far as what actually has more effect, I'm not 100% sure. But I had Marco look into this for me, and he came up with the schema.org stuff, right, which is microdata. If you guys, I just talked about the semantic web earlier. Well, schema.org is part of that. Let me put these links in on the event page real quick, so you guys can read up on schema.org video markup. Okay, and then he showed me this really cool tool, which Marco, I hadn't had a chance to tell you thank you yet because I haven't had a chance to see you since you sent this to me. But there's a really cool tool called by Systrix. It's hard to say. Let me paste this in. And I'll show it to you. And what this will do is you can just take a YouTube video link and paste it into this tool, and it will automatically mark it up with semantic markup. And that's freaking fabulous, guys. Let me just give you an example. I'll just grab, let me just grab this video right here, and I'll show you what it does. All right, so if you just paste the video link in and click Generate Source Code, now if you take a look, this is now giving us semantic markup for, it's marked up with schema.org markup for the video. So instead of using the YouTube embed code, I am now, from now on, since he showed this to me today, going to be using this on the websites because this is so much stronger. In fact, if you take this and go over and look at what's called the the structured data testing tool, which is Google Webmaster Tools, I'll paste this link in there as well. And you view the code, you have to click on the HTML tab. You can put a URL in here to see if you've got any schema.org markup, or you can go to HTML if you're pasting code. In this case, it's code, and it will show you the extracted structured data, right? And this is schema.org video object right here, and then it marks up each one of the items. And if you take a look at this code, I know it might be hard to see on your screen. Let me just do this real quick. I'll blow this up a little bit. But if you take a look at this, guys, you'll see that if you guys do any sort of coding on your sites, you'll know like what schema.org is. But you can see that it's like item prop equals, and it'll give you, it's a way to mark up content to give it a lot more data. Okay. It gives it a lot. It basically can mark up data and tell the search engines what it is, and that's what schema.org markup is, right? It's structured data or microdata. And so now that he showed me this awesome tool for all the websites that I embed videos on now, like for branded sites, that sort of thing, self-hosted WordPress sites, I'm going to use this from now on. So anyways, let me just post the Rich Snippets testing tool into the chat or the events page for you guys, and then I want to go over one other thing. So thank you, Marco, again for that. I really appreciate that. That's really cool. And I don't know if that answers Craig's question exactly, but if you're using schema.org markup, it doesn't matter. If you're using structured data, you're going to get the most juice out of a video if you've got it marked up correctly. Semantic markup, if that makes sense. Okay. So let me paste this on events page, and then I want to go over one more thing, and I'm gonna wrap it up, guys, because we're already a few minutes over. Let me check questions real quick. Looks like I don't see any other questions. Okay. Okay, cool. Looks like I don't see any other. All right. So last thing I want to do is I want to show you guys this. All right, and we're going to talk about playlist silos. I told you guys that I was going to give you a preview of what the advanced strategy webinars are going to be like, and I'm going to hold 2 of them for sure. The first one being tomorrow, which I'm going to start with tiered network training, okay, and how to set those up properly, especially for websites. If you're going to be using these networks for websites, okay. Again, for YouTube, it's not. You can just, it's a lot simpler to set up for YouTube stuff because you can get away with a lot more. But if you're using it for websites, you got to be careful, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And then if we have time tomorrow, we're going to start talking about some advanced YouTube stuff, because I know that a lot of the questions I get from you guys, and let me put this in chat. You guys can take a look at this page. How DP compare? Not sure what that means. If you can clarify for me. Damon, SendWire, and FCS Networker. Yeah, I use them all, dude. I use SendWire, FCS Networker, GSA, SociSend. I use all of them in conjunction with IFTTT stuff. That's the foundation of everything, but I use all those tools together because, you know, I got a software manager that does that stuff for me. Wow, I'm getting hit up with a ton of chats, guys. Let me get through my presentation, and I'll answer a couple more questions. I can't even see the screen right now, so let me shut some of these windows down. Goodness gracious. Guys, hit it up in group chat. Do not PM me privately right now, because otherwise it just gets too crazy. Do it in the group chat box, please, or on the event page itself, okay? I'll come back and check questions in just a minute. All right. One of the things I get a lot of questions about from you guys is YouTube SEO stuff, because the IFTTT training course it's not an on-page course. It's an off-page course. It's about off-page link building and building syndication networks, okay? So it is not an on-page video SEO course. But because that's what you guys are using this for, I'm going to let you in on something now, and I'm going to show you kind of an overview of what we're going to be teaching inside the training area that I'm going to give you guys, or I'm going to share with you guys that have purchased the training. We're going to get into some on-page YouTube stuff because I know that that's important. In fact, that's step 1. The IFTTT networks are really step 2, okay? And that's just what I started with, because I know that there's so many YouTube SEO courses that you can purchase. I didn't think that was necessary, but apparently a lot of you guys want that from me, and so I'd be happy to share with you, you know, what I can. But I also want to introduce you guys to something, or just kind of plant the seed for now, because once we go through our initial push, our initial launch, which we're totally public now. We're waiting to get some affiliates on board and things like that. But once we get that done, and we have, you know, a lot of people into the training, the IFTTT training, I'm going to be offering a coaching program to build a video SEO business. It's going to be very, very small group. Select. You're going to have to apply if you want to be a part of it. It's called Video SEO Academy, and that I'm going to build with 8 members that want to join. I'm going to help you guys personally build video SEO businesses that are generating positive revenue at the end of 8 weeks. I'm going to literally give you personal attention. We're going to build these businesses together, these video SEO businesses, and that's going to be, then after that initial 8 weeks is done, then I'm going to make the recordings of those trainings are going to be turned into Video SEO Academy product, which is going to be sold like the IFTTT training. Okay, so it's going to be within 90 days or so from now that will be available, and that'll be my full on-page course, which covers not just on-page stuff, but also getting clients or lead gen stuff, monetizing the networks, monetizing the videos, all of that. So that's just I'm just planting a seed now, guys, because I am going to be coming out with the video SEO training under Video SEO Academy, but that's going to be probably 90 days out. In the meantime, I'm going to give you guys some training inside the members area for on-page stuff, because that is step 1. So that said, I think I pasted this in chat, did I? Yes. Look at the playlist silos graphic that I created, because this is something that you guys can do, which will help, especially if you're going after keywords that you're having trouble ranking them. You can silo. Anybody here that knows about website silo architecture? And I know a lot of you do, because a lot of you are like Peter Garrity students and things like that, so you guys understand silo structure. But you can do that with YouTube too. And I'm surprised that more people don't talk about this, but you can silo in YouTube using playlists, okay? And so this is a graphic that I wanted to share with you guys that I had just created today, actually, to show you how to do this. So this is just going to be a high-level conceptual explanation of how to silo with playlists. Tomorrow, we're going to get into this in the Advanced Strategy webinar a lot more, and I'm going to show you live examples, okay? But I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to go over this conceptually. So with playlists, what you want to do is if you've got a term that you're having trouble ranking, it's more competitive, which is generally going to be a broader keyword, right? And that's why I talk about if you guys are trying to rank videos, that you want to go with long tail stuff, especially with high commercial intent, which means generally longer tail keywords. They're going to have less competition. They're going to be easy to rank, and they're almost guaranteed to generate a lead if you're able to rank them. So, for example, we use like emergency roof repair. That's a good one. You know, emergency vet or emergency. You know, like a lot of those types of terms. I'm using emergency, I know, but those are terms that convert very, very well. Okay, and they're generally easier to rank. So that's what I would call like the green keywords. So you can see I've got this color coded like red. That's orange, so you could see it instead of yellow, but it would be red, yellow, and green. Okay. So typically I say start off with these kind of keywords, right, which are the green keywords, the ones that are easier to rank. And that's where I say to start with, because once you guys start ranking some videos, even if they're for long tail terms that don't get a ton of search volume, again, think of what the intent is of the searcher. If you're going after longer tail keywords, they have a higher commercial intent, then people are generally, you know, if you go after a really broad term, a lot of the times that doesn't mean somebody's ready to purchase. It means that they're looking, you know, to find out more information, especially like with contracting industries. People that are looking for roofers are generally shopping for estimates, right? That's what they're doing. They're looking to contact several contractors that do roofing to come out and give them an estimate for whatever job it is that they need done, whether it's a, you know, a new roof installation or you know, whatever it may be. But people that are looking for emergency roof repair, those are people that have a problem that they're looking to solve right now. They're not shopping for estimates. They're looking for somebody to come to their house now. They're ready to pay. Okay, so that's why I say go after those keywords first, because they're going to generate some revenue in your business if you monetize them, right? So either find people to buy the leads from you, or rent those videos out on a flat monthly fee, or whatever the case may be. Those are the types of videos that you want to go with first. Once you start to see some good results, right, that's going to excite you, and you can start going after the more competitive terms that are generally more broad. They'll generate more traffic, but not necessarily more sales, right? But if you want to go after those top-level keyword terms, this is my suggestion, and this is how you would use playlists for it. You create a playlist with the top-level broad term. Okay, so and then you in a playlist description, you have an ability to fill out the description. Make sure you well optimize that description. Do not spam it. Do not keyword stuff it, but just make sure it's well optimized. Okay, try to fill that out with a good paragraph or two about what the playlist is, whatever the maximum character amount is. Just put a couple good sentences in there. I said paragraph, but I meant sentences of just what the playlist is going to be about. So like what videos are contained in there. Then start with your most competitive keyword and do a video for that. Okay. And then you're going to make sure you add that video to that playlist, all right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to start building supporting keywords, the longer tail keywords, just like you would be doing with your building a silo on a website. You find your secondary or your supporting keywords, you start doing videos for each of those, and you add that to the same playlist, okay? And then you link from those supporting videos from in the description area back up to the main keyword, the most competitive keyword, the broadest of keywords. So now what you're doing is essentially you're creating an internal linking structure in a silo fashion back up to your most competitive keyword. Excuse me. Now, take a look at this. The other thing is a playlist gives you a point with which you can build links to that has a touch point or a direct link to all of the videos contained within. Okay, so this is something that you can build additional links to. And in fact, there's several different versions of the playlist URL too that we'll get into tomorrow in the more advanced stuff, the advanced strategy stuff. But let's just say that you can get several variations of a playlist URL depending on whether it starts as like the playlist index page, or whether it starts the playlist URL starts at this video, or starts at this video, or starts at this video. Each one of those are new, unique linking opportunities. All right. When you syndicate your first video out, it's going to build IFTTT links automatically if you built your networks, right? Then you syndicate your second video out. It's going to build links automatically through your IFTTT networks, links and embeds, right? So if you put in the description of each one of these videos a link back up to your main video, the one that's the most difficult to rank, now you're going to be pushing juice through that link back up to that video each time you do a supporting video. And now you've got a playlist that is highly themed, right? Semantically related, what they call co-occurring keywords that are all supporting the main broad term, all right? So think about that, guys. You can silo with playlists just like you can on a website with a silo landing page and in supporting articles. You can do the exact same thing. So I wanted to kind of give that to you guys as like a little tidbit, something that you can play with and start thinking about how you can silo your videos out and go after more competitive keywords. All right, you guys, a lot of you have been following this for the last few weeks, so you guys know that I talk about using the longer tail keywords, and that's just to give you some initial success. But now that a lot of you have been building these networks and you're starting to see some success, now start going after some more of the competitive words. This is how you do it. Okay? And by the way, you can go back and add this later. If you've already got several videos, go build a playlist for it. Set up a playlist, add all those videos in the playlist, and then just add the playlist URL. You can add either the playlist URL in the description area or the most competitive keyword. Depends on how you want to do it. If you've got several different long tail terms that you're ranking that are ranking well, I would still set up a playlist and then just link from within in the video description up to the playlist. But if you've got a specific keyword that's giving you a hard time for ranking, then I would link up to that instead from within the description of each. Okay, and you'll build the internal link juice, what they call buoyancy, right? You're going to push all that juice up, and what it's going to do, it's going to push that main keyword up. All right? Okay, so let me see if there's anything else, and I'm going to go. Looks like there's no other questions here. Oh, Jaunty's got one. The question, when after setting up Blogger and WordPress.com as per the training using a proxy, when we log in to them accounts after, do we have to use it using the same proxy? No, I don't do it, Jaunty. It's not a stupid question because I get that asked a lot. When I use proxies, it's mainly only for the Google account. Blogger, yeah, but honestly, no. What I don't accounts, and then what I'll do is that's why I talk about in the training how you set up a recovery email, because especially if you have outsourcers that are doing your, setting up your accounts, like all my outsourcers that do the accounts or the network builds are in the Philippines, and so they'll set up the accounts, and then when they transfer to me, if I have to log into the Google account and I log in through a proxy that's they use US proxies, but so let's say, for example, they're using a San Francisco proxy, and I'm in Virginia, so I'm on the other side of the country. If I log in with my own account, then it will trigger a recovery. Like it'll say I have to recover my account. My account's locked because I'm signing in from an unusual location, as what in Google's words. So that's why I always set up a recovery email, because then I can recover that account, and that's why we do that. Okay, but typically, no, I don't. Honestly, I don't. I've got too many damn networks to worry about keeping track of those proxies. So it's just on the setup side, because once they set them up, then I'll syndicate 5 or 6 pieces of content to the networks before I have to log into them anyways, and by then they're seasoned. And seasoned accounts will take more, have more of a threshold before they get locked, if that makes sense, because they're seasoned, right? And that's part of the reason why we interlink everything the way that we do, because it builds authority. Okay, it looks like that's it, guys. I'm going to have to wrap it up because we're like almost an hour in. This is supposed to be a 30-minute deal. Let me see on the event page. Yeah, okay, guys. Well, if you guys have any questions about that, you can post them on the events page even afterwards. I'll send out the invitation for next week, probably by Friday at the latest, and you guys can jump in next week with some more questions if you like. Check out the iftttseo.com. If you haven't joined yet, if you want to be a part of the webinar tomorrow, the Advanced Strategy webinar, then go ahead and join today. And that way you can be a part of it. Just once you log into the training area, there will be a new flashing thing in the sidebar that will bring you into the Facebook group. And in the Facebook group, there is the link to the registration to the webinar tomorrow. And that's also going to be like our discussion forum, and everything else is inside the Facebook group. So jump in and check it out if you want to be there tomorrow. If not, like I said, part of it will be recorded. Brian says, any automated software that creates multiple social media accounts for the IFTTT network? Yeah, there's Anthony Hayes did an IFTTT commando. Anthony Hayes, look it up. I don't know if it's still for sale or not. The problem with that, Brian, and we talk about this many, many times, is that if you're using automated software to create accounts, they don't have near as good a stick rate, and there's also no authority. You still have to log in. If you want to do them the way that we teach, you still need to log into those accounts and set up, interlink them and complete all the profiles. And the automated tools won't do that. Okay, so there's still a manual. It can help speed up the process, but there's still a manual portion to it. That's why I don't even bother with them. I've tested a lot of them. And guys, I'm not saying don't use them, because I'm not saying anything bad about his product. If it works, it works. I have found that the accounts are much stronger and they stick a lot longer if you set them up, you interlink them, you theme them, you complete all the profiles. And once again, interlinking, that's what we're talking about, the stacking, right? You can call it domain authority stacking, you can call it compounding, you can call it whatever you want. That's what gives them that extra power, is interlinking everything and theming them. And using automated tools to create mass accounts, you can't do that. All right, so, but that's one of them. As far as there's like FCS Networker will create accounts. Not there's places and times that you want to use that kind of stuff. That's when I get out to like tier 3, tier 4. That's where I use those kind of tools, like spam tools. FCS Networker is a Web 2.0 spam tool. GSA is just a spam tool, and I love it, GSA, man. I kill it with GSA, but it has its place, and it's very, very far away from my money site. Okay, it's at least 3 steps away from my money site. All right, you got to be careful using tools like that, or you'll blow yourself up. All right, okay, guys, I think that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up. Let me check one more time. Ken Roberts says, how many proxies do we need when setting up networks every day? Ken, if you buy, if you're doing it yourself, you could get away with 5. Get private or dedicated proxies. And I put some recommendations to proxy providers inside the training area. Easy proxies, I use easy proxies. Students use buyproxies.org. I don't really use them. I used to, but I had some issues for a little while. Maybe they've corrected it, and I put that as a recommended resource because many students say that they are using them. Just make sure they're private or dedicated proxies, and you can get away with 5 of them. And I mentioned this in one of the trainings maybe 2 weeks ago, but you could set up, if you want to be safe, you could set up as many as 2 Google accounts per IP per day. So if you set up 2 Google accounts on 1 IP today, that's fine. It won't give you any problems. And then you use the second proxy the next day, the third proxy the third day. By the time you get to day 6, you go back to proxy 1, you can set up 2 more accounts, and you will have no problem whatsoever. I have my team uses 25 dedicated proxies between 2 full-time IFTTT builders. And those two share those 25 dedicated proxies, and they're from easy proxies, which aren't proxies like buyproxies.org, which will replace your proxies every 30 days. Through easy proxies, they're pretty much permanent, unless you have a problem, and then you can request new proxies. But they're pretty much, you get 1 list of proxies, and that's it. And that's what they use, is those same 25 proxies over and over and over again. And I haven't had any problems whatsoever. So. Okay, and David Ross says, well, before you go, I would like to thank you for all the information. Hey, David, you're a new mastermind member, buddy, so you're going to be in for a hell of a lot more than just what I do here. So we got the whole team inside, and I know you know that already. So I'm glad to have you in the mastermind, David. Welcome, and we'll see you in there as well. So, okay, guys. Hey, I appreciate everybody being here. Next week, we'll have the same time, same bat channel, all that, Hump Day Hangouts, 4 p.m. on Wednesday. And we'll chat with you guys next week. You'll get the invitation in the next day or so. See you guys.